Hi. Okay. So I realized we didn't have sound. That's what happens with live. It sometimes goes that way. Thank you all for being with us. I see we have 10 people in the room. Do we have anyone who has any questions, anything you might like to ask me about Texas Pictures or about our recovery stories or our fentanyl stories or any of the other series that are on our channel, or maybe something about Texas Pictures in general, or something about recovery, whatever. There's a chat window right over there, and love to hear from you guys. Any new visitors? Brad, you here? I know that you're. Yeah. I know Viola. Yeah, I. It's live. There's a little button here that I overlooked because I was so excited. So the people in the room, many of you guys come from the premiere. Did you guys watch the story? Uh, she was Tracy was a fast talker. She had a lot to say and tore right through it. I thought it was a good, powerful story. I suppose I think they're all powerful, and they are. Anything that comes from the heart is powerful. Anything that comes from the heart is important, and so these stories come from the heart. They're stories that matter is what we call them, and I firmly believe that everybody grows when someone shares a story. Everybody grows, not just the audience, but the storyteller grows too. I grow. Everybody involved grows, learns new things, finds new compassion, new perspectives, new understanding. There's something beautiful about that. And there's Brad. No, we're not out of coffee cups. They're on our store. It's coffee cups just like this, Brad. Just like this. I know. I know you've seen this before. On the other side of the cup, it says stories that matter. That's us. So, speaking of stories that matter, and Brad, and possibly Carla too. I don't know if Carla's here with us or not, but I wanted to share with you guys something that happened this week. The Oklahoma legislature unanimously approved House Bill 1484, which is known as Raines Law, this week. The law, named in honor of 19-year-old Rain Reese, a Cameron University student who died after unknowingly ingesting a pill laced with fentanyl, aims to expand drug awareness education across the state's public schools. That's so vital. That is a that is such a big deal because getting into schools is where prevention is possible. Before someone tries, prevention is the thing. Prevention is the only way to win the drug war. The reason drug dealers, drug manufacturers, cartels, all of that, the reason they prosper is because of demand. And demand comes from more than anything, I think. A lack of good information, a lack of education, a lack of awareness. And so Raines Law addresses that in Oklahoma. And I think it's fantastic. Under Raines law, school districts will be required to include age-appropriate instruction on fentanyl abuse prevention and drug poisoning awareness for students in grades 6 through 12. So all the way up to graduating high school. A curriculum will cover not only the dangers of fentanyl, but also broader topics such as addiction, like our story tonight, health risks, and strategies for avoiding substance use. The law also authorizes qualified organizations and individuals to help deliver this instruction and directs the State Department of Education to develop standards and resources for schools. That is such an awesome thing. And I think more than anything, I'm happy for Rain that that there's this recognition. It's such a great way to pull some sort of value out of that terrible loss. Brad says, Carla's asking for hoodies now. Oh my gosh. Yes, we have hoodies, Carla. We do. And even the ones with zippers. We have one with a zipper. We call it the Bradley. Brad says, I'm so proud of Carla and what she has accomplished in tragedy. It is really a big deal, Carla. It is wonderful. Oh, Brad, you're killing me. So for those of you who don't know, Rain's story is on our channel. And you can, don't go watch it right now, but I will get a link so that you can watch it in a moment. You can watch it, after the live, perhaps. And let me just find the link. And just like that, I have the link. Here is Rain's story. There's a link to it right there. So should you feel inspired sometime later on, feel free to check out Rain's story. Rain's story has had over 660,000 views. And this is the updated story. There was a version before this. I want to say, well, I guess I can look for that too. The original one had over 500,000 views. So combined, it's over 1 million views for this story. Brina Boo, welcome. Glad you're here. You missed our big. Gosh, Carla. I don't think that's nice at all. There's always a chance Greg will join us here again. Maybe not. He called me typical frantic self earlier today. Phone calls from Greg are rapid fire. He will call and say, "Hey, Glenn, it's Greg. Brrr, all right, gotta go." And then that's it. It's over. Just you're kind of sitting there thinking, what happened? For those of you who don't know, Greg, the Greg we're talking about is Greg Swan. Drew Swan's story is told by Greg. Drew is Greg's son. AVFC. Have you heard of nitazenes? Similar to fentanyl in the UK, 54 people died in the last 6 months from them, 50 times stronger than heroin. I think nitazenes are stronger than that nitazenes are substantially stronger than fentanyl. And fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin. So at least that's the number, right? The DEA and CDC say 50 times more potent, talking about fentanyl. Brad's asking about the traffic in Houston. The traffic in Houston is fantastic. It is awesome. You have to come see for yourself. And Kimberly has joined us. Thank you for being here, Kimberly. We need to see Brenda. We haven't seen Brenda in a while, but Brina Boo is here. Brina, glad you're with us. So you missed, Brina, you missed us talking about Raines Law. Raines Law is awesome. It's this new law in Oklahoma that requires age-appropriate education regarding fentanyl and illicit drugs, dangers, overdose, addiction, stuff like that. It's wonderful. And Carla was on that. Kimberly is headed to the hospital right now. So, hospital for you or hospital for one of your clients? When are we coming through Oklahoma City? I don't know. I hope soon. Like to see you guys again. Be great to see Brenda again, and certainly Carla, and I guess Brad too. And so I hope sometime soon. Our next events are going to be in Foley, Alabama, and 3 or 4 weeks after that, we're in Memphis, Tennessee, and after that, I believe Savannah, Georgia. But that one's still taking shape. So we'll see. Kimberly says, no, I'm in the hospital from spider bite on my left. Oh, spider bite. Ew. That sounds painful, scary, and creepy. Spiders. Yeah. In schools, where is it taught? The law requires schools to do that. Let me look back at the notes that I put together. Under Raines Law, school districts will be required to include age-appropriate instruction on fentanyl abuse prevention and drug poisoning awareness for students in grades 6 through 12. The law requires the education. It isn't specific about how it's delivered, though I'm sure there are specific requirements. And the curriculum will cover fentanyl, but it'll also cover addiction, health risks, strategies for avoiding substance use. So cool stuff. Get back to where I was. Brina, that is excellent. Yes, it is. And Carla was part of that. Right, Carla? Share with us a little bit about the role that you had. Because that's you were part of making law. And yeah, our system of government is designed to work that way, but actually doing it, actually being a part of it beyond just electing someone. Rain, what? Carla, what? No, I didn't. Holy cow. I don't. Carol Egan. Uh, well, I don't know what to say to that. Oh, yeah, I see that now. No, I had no idea. We've been working with Carol to develop a documentary. So that's hmm. I, I I had no idea. No idea. Brad says Carla 47 yays, 0 nays. That's that's unanimous. That's awesome. Carla says another fentanyl parent and I kept going up to the Capitol building, speaking with state reps and senators. We shared our stories and met with lawmakers. It's so important, my mom says, it's so important to get information to teenagers about the dangers of fentanyl. Your hard work is a blessing to so many. Yeah, yeah, Carla. She has done so much for others, much like you have. But Carol Egan is a fentanyl mom. There's a message. It says we have lost a true advocate in this movement. It is with deep sorrow that we share the passing of Carol Egan, a longtime advocate, a fearless leader, and one of the earliest voices who stood up during the prescription opioid and illicit fentanyl crisis when so many families were still suffering in silence. Carol dedicated her life to empowering parents and families across the country, reminding them that they were not alone and encouraging them to fight back against this epidemic without fear. Her impact reached hundreds of families, and her legacy will forever be worn into the work we continue today. Wow. So I have to look. I have. I'm just a little bit speechless about Carol because we've been messaging each other a lot. I have the latest message from her is from 2 days ago. From Tuesday morning. Hmm. All right. So anyway, what have I missed? Who's yeah? Okay, I mean, Nux. Yeah, where's Nux? It'd be great to see Nux here. Glenn, I have a young gentleman that is using cannabis on the streets. There's a lot. What I know about Carol is that she passed away, and that's really all that I just heard about it a few minutes ago from Carla and Peterson. Why did I get an email from you? A message? What? Help me. I don't. I know this name. Welcome, Ann. Thank you for joining us. Maybe you can help me figure out what I'm looking at here. Oh, that's it. You see, what screwed me up is the absence of that other name, Melody. I see it there now. Hello from Minnesota. Melody. Yeah, okay. I understand now. Hi. Thank you for joining us. We have been here for 26 minutes, 27 minutes. That's awesome. So who's uh, people who saw the premiere, people who saw the recovery story. Recovery stories are just they are so important because they have this underlying message of hope. And hope matters a lot. That it's so important to me that we have this recovery series because I can direct people to that series. In the fentanyl stories and in human trafficking stories and cannabis stories, there are commenters who are in addiction or in recovery or just wish they were in recovery. And they're seeing our stories about loss. And I feel like it's so important to be able to point them to the recovery series too. Because the recovery series has hope. There's people who are making it. Melody Ann says, I'm here because of my ex. Do I do I already know that melody? I'm we hear from a lot of people, and it's sometimes hard for me to keep up. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like I'm not old like Brad's old, but you know, what a what a day here because of your ex. So surely there's a story to that. What what about that brings you here? Is your ex someone you lost? Is your ex someone in recovery? Someone who needs to be in recovery? Okay, I don't like that he's an alcoholic. We have we have a recovery story from an alcoholic that we recorded in San Antonio last weekend that will be coming to our channel soon. You know, when we do these, there is we get a bunch of stories recorded and then we go through the editing process and that takes a while. He has endured. It's a tough thing. Addiction can be such a dark place. And people that are in recovery say you can't really understand it until you've been through it. I can see that there's this thing. Thank you, Carla. Thank you. That it means a lot to me for you to say that recovery stories are important. They're giant important. They don't get the attention. They don't get the kind of views like the story tonight. An important story. It was short. But recovery stories never get the attention of a fentanyl story or a cannabis story or a human trafficking story. And I don't know. I'd love to figure out how to get the recovery stories to get that kind of attention because they're so important. They're so they have this wonderful underlying message of hope. And there are so many now. There's over 60 recovery stories on our channel. And somewhere in that mess of stories, somewhere in that, there has to be a story that anyone can connect to. And says recovery stories are very important. Yes. Carla says they give people who are struggling hope for a better day and life. So, Melody, I see you said my name. I mean, you spelled it wrong. It's actually on the screen, but that's okay. I see you said my name. What is there more of that? Yeah. Yeah. So Anne says we need to remember the people living. And ultimately, all of this is for the people that are living. We had these stories. These stories about loss are wonderful memorials for the loved ones, but they're for the living. The messages are for the living. And so, where did Carol live? Good question. I don't believe I ever met her in person. Savannah, Georgia is what it says on her Facebook profile. Ah. So here's another. Here's another post about Carol. The brightest light imaginable has been extinguished, but she leaves us with her eternal flame. We come to you all with the heaviest of hearts to share the devastating and untimely passing of our beloved matriarch, Carol Egan, yesterday, February 11th, in, oh, oh, in Mexico, visiting her happy place with her Fibrista sisters. Our fearless leader was simply crossing the street to meet friends for lunch when she was struck down by a truck. How instantly life forever changes, and we are left to try to make sense of the incomprehensible. We're all painfully well acquainted with that experience, and to lose Carol this way creates an unimaginable void that only she could fill. Carol's tireless spirit, relentless energy, passion, dedication, beautiful heart, and quest for justice were unmatched. She leaves an unforgettable eternal flame that will take every one of us to resolutely carry forward in our advocacy and in our lives. She spoke and lived out loud, never accepting less than was warranted and always believing and working for a way to honor our angels, remove stigma, save lives, and root for recovery. So there we are. And gosh, I'm learning about this in real time, and that's weird. We have me and Carol have 240 mutual friends on Facebook. Anyway, okay. So I don't know. We had a project we were working. I don't know how to. I mean, it's not the. I'm not worried about the project. We're all doing things to increase awareness and I don't know. Hmm. So I just gee. I sure need a button for a commercial. That would be useful. That would be useful. So who else is with us? We have looking at the display here, it says there's 12 people in the room right now. We're not hearing from everybody. If you're watching on your smartphone, if you're watching on your smart TV and you don't have a way to participate in the chat, you can watch on your phone at the same time. Watch the chat, watch the light, watch me on your TV, and then use your phone to engage in the chat. Wow. So just terrible. Strongly spoken. Thank you, Ian. So who else is in the room that and anybody have any comments about the premiere? If not, that's okay. It's important that everybody knows it's there. It's important that everybody who wants to see it sees it, and that's what matters. We have a lot of recovery stories on our channel. There's over 60. I believe our number is at 62 right now, and we have 3 or 4 more to publish that we shot last week in San Antonio. So I'm thrilled to have more recovery stories to put on our channel, even though they don't get the views that they should. I don't know how to make it happen to where they get more views. I don't know how the fentanyl stories got so many views and how they're. I do the same thing with all the topics, and we handle it the same way. So we do have coming up the. Let's see. I don't have that, but we have a new series. The first episode in a new series is coming up on Monday. Monday, our first story in the Still Missing series will premiere. And so kind of excited about that. It's kind of interesting to hear. It'll be interesting to hear what people think about it, to hear feedback. And it's these Still Missing stories. Many of them seem to be stories that are going to get you kind of irritated, particularly toward law enforcement. There's a lot of the storytellers we spoke with talked about how they didn't feel like the police did much, and it's certainly understandable that it could seem that way because if there's no results, there's nothing to tell you, and so you're not going to hear from them. And so, not that I'm making excuses for how law enforcement manages the investigations. I'm just, to have a loved one disappear and not have any answers, no resolution, no nothing. That's got to be an extra brutal kind of ordeal. Our first story in the missing series is from a mother whose adult son disappeared 20 years ago. Never been found. No resolution. No investigation recently, anyway. And the only people that are trying to figure things out is mother, the storyteller, and an organization called something. Only account search and I have to look. I just have to look. It'll just take me a minute. Oh no, it won't just take me a minute. But we'll get there. Piece of cake. I'll just go right here to drive 10. That kind of says something, doesn't it? That there is a drive 10. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, Search and Support San Antonio. I was right. Is an organization that's involved in helping locate missing people. So, anyway, so no Nux. We so remember the dead, but rarely remember the living. God has never not explained anything to. I don't know where to go with that melody. But yeah, we so remember the dead, but rarely remember the living. That's something you often hear pointed out about funerals, is that at the funeral, people say such wonderful things. Wonderful things that the deceased would have probably loved to hear when they were alive. Wonderful things that the deceased might have grown from, learned from, treasured. But it's not until they're gone. Look at that. We have been here over 45 minutes now, and we're probably going to wrap it up. Melody says you help so many people. Meaning Carol? Everyone does. Carol does. Carla does. Carla and Carla's been on it. What a roller coaster of an evening. That to have Rain's Law and to have lost someone. One description described her as the matriarch in this fentanyl fight. But there's a lot to celebrate about Rain's Law. That's such an awesome thing. And every time a state makes a law like that, they also make pressure for all the other states to do the same thing. All the states need to make laws that push to teach young people about drugs in an effective way. There is tons of research out there now that shows that the DARE program was not an effective way. I think that Fentanyl Fathers kind of has it figured out with the idea of having a set of facts and information that they teach, and at the same time weaving through that the story from a bereaved parent, from a parent who's lost someone, where the students in the audience, they're seeing it from a whole different angle than just hearing about someone died. They're seeing the impact of the loss on the parent, and that really hammers home for a lot of kids, I think, the risk that they're taking and how that can hurt their parents, hurt their loved ones, parents, siblings, whatever. So people don't recognize, like the DARE program, people aren't recognizing how sophisticated audiences are. Sophisticated. Handful of screaming 14-year-old kids, when it comes to consuming media, gosh, they're sophisticated. Not from just watching TV, from all of the media they get exposure to through Instagram, and Facebook is more for old folks, I guess, but Instagram and TikTok and all of the other social media sources. They're a sophisticated audience. And if you don't capture them and hold their attention right out of the chute, it's not going to do any good. And DARE just doesn't do that. Carlos says, thank you, Glenn. I appreciate it. I pray Rain can see it happening. She must. She must. She has to be beaming and proud of you, Carla. And how would she not be? She's got to be looking at it going, my mama kicked some ass with this thing. She's gotta be, you know? It's awesome. It's really. I still keep going back to Carol. So I also want to. I gotta update some graphics here. Holy cow! You know, I like to remind folks a lot that you hear about Narcan a lot, and I'm going the wrong way here. You hear about Narcan a lot, and it's not just Narcan, it's naloxone. The drug in Narcan is called naloxone. So I'm going to share with you guys this. This is 6 different boxes. Only one says Narcan, the one at the bottom, kind of in the middle at the bottom. Only one says Narcan. All of them are equally effective. All of them contain naloxone. In fact, the one with the orange on the box on the far left is called Kloxxado, and that is a higher dose. All the other boxes, what the hell? Melody. Melody, knock it off now. So what I was saying, and I don't know what that was. So what I was saying is all of these except for one, the box with the orange on it on the left side that says Kloxxado, all of them are 4 milligram doses of naloxone. Narcan, the Walgreens brand, and those 3 others that are across the top, they're all the same. They're all exactly the same. There's no difference in effectiveness, no difference in anything. The one with the orange on it, Kloxxado, also the same drug, naloxone. The difference with that is each spray, this is a nasal sprayer, right? Yeah, there we go. Just up the nose, push the button. That's it. Up the nose, like all the way, as far as it'll go. And then, unlike all the others, Kloxxado, which is what this one is, Kloxxado has an 8 milligram dose. This is an 8 milligram dose, even though it looks exactly the same as a Narcan dose. This one's still in the package, but it's the same nasal spray, same design, same everything, except Kloxxado is a higher dose. So I like to remind everyone of that now and then, just because I think it is gigantically important to recognize that the drug is naloxone. Narcan is just a brand name. It's like calling a tissue a Kleenex. Tissue is what it is. Kleenex is one brand. Narcan is just one brand. So I like to really hammer that home now and then. Risk is here. Thank you for joining us, Risk. I was starting to wonder where everybody was. You know, it's. I guess maybe what we need to do is perhaps run make the live events a little later. Maybe start at 8 or 8:30 Central Time instead of like we start at 7:15 or so today, and that is determined really by the length of the program that was premiering, which was 12 minutes. And so I get so parched talking here. I do still have a little bit of coffee. Yeah, self-cleaning mug. As long as you drink black coffee, you never have to wash it, which is why it's so expensive. So we have summits coming up. Earlier, I said summits in Foley, Alabama, Memphis, Tennessee, and Savannah, Georgia. Here's the thing. The organizer for Savannah was Carol Egan. So I don't know what's going to happen with Savannah. We've also had inquiries from Northern California. Arizona, Portland, Oregon, and I'm forgetting one. Michigan. And so those could all be, and could be, we're going to Knoxville, Tennessee as well. Don't know. Our schedule tends to evolve continuously, and we just run with it as best we can. But I feel like it is just about time to wrap things up tonight. We've been here for an hour. That's kind of cool. I just ramble senselessly for an hour. But next premiere is going to be Monday. And next premiere will be next premiere with a live event. There may be another premiere. Depends on how things go tomorrow. But next premiere with a live event will be Monday. And that will be our first in our Still Missing series. I did have a graphic for our Still Missing series, but I don't see it anymore. Let me see if I can make it happen real quick. There it is. Now, if I come to that's it. And I put this up here. I double click and I pick the window. There it is. Look at that. Okay. Wow. That kind of worked out, huh? So this is the graphic that goes with our new series. They're all going to look a little something like this, at least for the start. And our first one will be Monday. The storyteller is the missing person's mother, and she is a minister. She lives in Anchorage, Alaska, but she was in San Antonio for the event. It's not that I don't like the Northwest, Brad. That's not it at all. I like the Northwest just fine. Happy to go there. The way all of our stories happen is someone local to that area contacts us and asks us to come, and we start working out a way to make it happen. We had a request from Portland and started working on it, but it never took off, and so it didn't happen. But I'm hoping it happens soon. If you look at our summit map, holy cow, there's the north and the west are kind of neglected, aren't they? It seems to me like they are. And so, totally game to go anywhere. We also have an inquiry that's supposed to be working on a plan for us to come to I think Montreal, somewhere in Canada. And a little bit of discussion about even going to the UK. We'll see. I've been there many times. Risk says Portland is America's largest open-air insane asylum. That's maybe that's a little bit harsh, but I get what you're saying. I'm kind of eager to get to Portland. I haven't been there I've probably been 15, 20 years. I'm sure it's different from what it was like when I was there before. Yes, Viola, I'm hoping Savannah isn't off the table as well. What's wrong with Oklahoma City? Well, it's already got a star on our map, Brad. And if Oklahoma City has the storytellers, we're happy to come back and do another summit in Oklahoma City anytime. Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Choctaw, wherever, if there's enough storytellers. And our basic system is If we can do 6 to 8 interviews, 6 to 8 stories a day for at least 2 days, then that's enough. And the local event coordinator doesn't have to find all the stories, just some. Once we have the event set up, we announce it on our channel and on our Facebook page. And that tends to lead to more people signing up. And the schedule gets pretty full. So it works like that. Could do it in Bartlesville. Bartlesville has a Frank Lloyd Wright building. It's weird, the stuff that I have in my head. Anyway, we have been here over an hour now, and it is time to wrap things up pretty soon. Have you ever been to Montana? I have, but I haven't been to Montana for anything recent. I've done a lot of travel for industrial production work. For decades, I was an industrial video producer, and we still do that. We do training and safety videos. Doesn't happen often. It hasn't happened at all. There was one small project, I want to say 3 years ago, that was for an oil field service company. It was very small. And everything else, all of our energy has been toward content related to fentanyl addiction recovery and other kinds of stories that matter. No, Brad, we don't sell lifesavers on our channel. But I can bring you a roll. Or you come here and I'll give you 4 rolls. How about that? You can have candy, right, Brad? I mean, it's not going to screw up your dentures or something. Hello, Brenda. Why, you're just... I'm seeing you here, and I'm thinking you're here just in time to say your message. And as I read what you wrote, you said your message. Well, you take for granted someone else is praying for. That's wonderful. It's so wonderful. So, on that note, so relieved, so happy to see Brenda here. And Brenda, I don't know if you were watching quietly for a while, but our next premiere with a live event is going to be on Monday, and it's going to be the first story in our Missing Person series. I hope you can make it. Anyway, thank you all for joining us on this exciting Thursday evening. I always like to remind you folks that you guys are welcome to reach out to us anytime. Doesn't have to be for a story. It could be just because you have questions or you're looking for someone to talk to, looking for someone with some sort of expertise or whatever. We'll do what we can to help you. We'll always do what we can to help you. And the hoodie with a zipper. Yeah, okay, that might take a little bit more of a trick, but we'll hook you up. You come to Houston, we'll hook you up. Maybe a hoodie with a zipper that's got lifesavers in the pockets. Maybe. All right, folks. So thanks again for being with us. And remember, you can reach out to us anytime by email at info@texas-pictures.com. You can find us on Facebook under my name and under our company name. And you can also visit our website, texas-pictures.com, to learn more about us, to learn how to share a story or how to organize a storytelling summit in your area. Oh, there go the dogs. Of course they do. And there's a link to our merchandise store and more information about us, our mailing address, our phone number, and some examples of our industrial work, which we haven't done in quite a while. Anyway, that's going to be it for tonight, folks. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will talk to you next time.